Hey everyone.
What's good, everybody?
What's
Woohoo!
good? Did you like that?
What did you say?
What's good?
What's
I went
good?
down deep. My vocal range is insane. I'm actually very talented at the singing. La la la, so forth. Nothing.
All right, what is up, everybody?
Hey everyone.
Welcome to the stream and welcome to another edition of No Cap. No, welcome to a new edition of All Cap, my weekly review and reaction to the Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Nay, Captain America and the Winter Soldier.
Today we wanted to switch up the format a little bit. We actually started No Cap as a part of the stream, so I figured let's end it as a part of the stream.
Yeah, it had nothing to do with time constraints and filming video and writing a script. Nothing about that.
But I figured, after some consideration, I figured it was actually kind of a nice way to go with wrapping up this particular series on
Plus,
my
it'll be
channel.
nice to have like a conversation about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As opposed to just me kind of talking to myself,
Yeah.
which I enjoy doing. But anyway, yeah, so let's hop right into it. This week, we are talking the finale, One World, One People. Mm-hmm. This episode was directed by Carrie Scogland, who has directed the entire series, written by Malcolm Spellman and Joseph Sawyer, and of course, music by Henry Jackman. I remember an early complaint in the MCU was that when people were just trying to find stuff to like complain about, was that how there were no memorable scores.
That has since changed.
I think that's changed. I absolutely love hearing the Captain America score in this now. I don't know. It was weird. It wasn't something I ever really had like a connection to, but seeing obviously, Steve Rogers' story going over into Sam's story, I don't know. It just, it hits a different way now.
Yeah. Plus, didn't they alter it a little bit to be unique to Sam?
I think so.
I think he has his own like new version of the Captain America. It's so crazy. As we were watching it and he shows up in his new suit with his shield, I'm like, oh yeah, like I saw that coming. Yeah, he's Captain America. Cool. And then like 2 hours later, I'm sitting here and I'm like, he's Captain America now.
Yeah.
Like it sunk in like a little later. Not only is it like Sam's Captain America, everyone's Captain America is now black.
Yeah.
Which is like crazy.
So first off, that moment in particular, when I first saw it, you were there.
Yeah.
I fucking screamed. Like I literally screamed. Kendra had to tell me to shut up.
He did.
Because I was just it was so cool seeing that moment just come to life and seeing Sam as Captain America.
And I kind of liked that in like true Captain America form. It wasn't like the reveal at the end of the episode, this big, huge like moment. It was just like he just showed up and he's like, yeah, okay, I'm here. Pose for like half a second and then okay, now I need to like finish doing my job.
Yeah, I have a job to do.
And there are, I will say, it more so in the Falcon and Winter Soldier than WandaVision. There are a lot of gratuitous shots that I'm like, oh, they filmed this so it would look cool in promotion. They filmed this so it would look cool going forward. Maybe it didn't need to be in there. And there was still some of that, like at the end when someone was like, it's Black Falcon, and they were like, no, that's Captain America. I'm like, okay, that's cheesy, but I like that in that opening moment. First of all, they didn't like dilly-dally. They're like, we know what you're here for. We'll give you this in the first like 5 minutes of the episode and just like freak out about it. But then like we have stuff to continue doing. And then,
see, I'm okay. I admit it's like, it's a little cheese. It's a little fluff thrown in there. But I kind of don't mind it only because like it kind of reminds me of like those older superhero movies, like in the vein of Superman, like the original Superman movie. And like how often do you ever see that like a black character get something like that? Because I'm not saying they're not stories worth telling, but like a lot of times those stories will kind of veer toward like that's the focal point is being black in a space. And the show obviously did that as well. But just like for a moment like that, I kind of like the nod to like he's Captain America. He's not Black Captain America. He's not Black Falcon. That's Captain America.
Captain Black America. Missed opportunity. But yeah, no, I get it. I don't know. It's just like if they had made one less like Captain America thing during it, I would have enjoyed it a little more.
It was interesting because sometimes I like and this is kind of a comment on the entire series. I enjoyed what they did with like the buddy cop comedy in there.
Yeah.
But I think at a certain point,
Jesus Christ.
At a certain point, it becomes a little distracting and becomes a little cheesy, especially when there is so much like heavy subject matter in there. Yeah. So yeah, get what you're saying though, that like sometimes it was like you can pump the brakes just a little bit.
A little bit. Like I get that this
Smidge.
again, that one little clip is going to be great as a promotional
Absolutely.
like clip, but yeah, I don't know. I had a couple things like that where I'm like, I really, really enjoyed the series overall. I think, again, like WandaVision, kind of the only thing we have to compare it to, it suffered because of stuff out of everyone's control.
Yeah.
Literally, an uncontrollable virus. Like, I would love to have seen what they could have achieved if they had the time, the resources, if they didn't have to abandon a complete storyline because it was too similar to what was happening in the real world.
Yeah.
I want to see the full vision.
Yeah.
Because like you said, the buddy cop stuff, like the Sam and Bucky stuff, loved that. The Sam coming to terms with him being the only person who's really suitable to be Captain America. Him struggling through that and learning about Isaiah and all that stuff. Great. The Flag Smasher stuff.
I think that kind of between the Flag Smasher stuff and I would say a lesser extent, the Power Broker stuff, because that's all kind of lumped in.
Yeah.
Yeah, that I think is the big thing that brought the show down.
Yeah.
Just because like the premise of the Flag Smashers, like changing that one singular character into like something a little more realistic, is a very, very fascinating idea. But yeah, to just have it reduced to like a pretty simplistic like extremist group.
Yeah. It could have been better fleshed out. I don't know, because the intention of the Flag Smashers was so like universally understandable. Like Sam got it.
Yeah.
Bucky got it to a certain extent. It's just like the means in which, and that's like a theme throughout the whole show. The ends justifying the means.
Yeah. Well, even if I may, kind of what you were saying, it just made me think like even the way Bucky and Sam view the Flag Smashers, like Zemo views them as like superpowered people, so they're automatically no good.
He's biased.
Bucky focused on the bad they were doing, but Sam focused on the why.
Yeah.
And I think that's the key difference, and more so than any other character. I said it in the very first episode of No Cap. Sam deserves to be Captain America.
Sam's a good person.
Yeah. And it's stuff like that. Like he would much rather talk to the person rather than engage in a fight or a war with someone.
Exactly.
So,
and he understood their why. But I think everything with them just like happened so quickly. At first I was like, okay, I understand what they're doing. I mean, you shouldn't steal things, but like I get it. I'm on board.
yeah.
They're not the bad guys of the show. And then it was like immediately they switched and they were like, oh, actually we're like going to operate like a terrorist organization.
Yeah.
And we're going to kill people, innocent people sometimes, to try to get what we want, and we don't care. Like, it became that so quickly. And then only in this last episode did we have fellow Flag Smashers, like, questioning for a split second, like, our leader's insane now.
Yeah.
And that didn't go anywhere anyway. And then they did it with Carly and they did it with John Walker.
Yeah.
Carly is fighting to the death for what she believes in. And then as soon as she gets shot once, she's like, I'm sorry. What? Like, that's like such a quick turn. Like, I get it. At the end, you were trying to be like, oh, see, she's not all bad. Yeah, we got that already. I don't know. I thought that was kind of rushed to include at the end. I would have, I don't know. It's just like, why do that? We've come so far with her. She has done so much in this episode alone. She has attempted to murder many innocent people, and then you're gonna have her say I'm sorry at the end of it. I don't care about your sorry now. Sorry, it's too late.
Well, and it feels weird criticizing. I mean, we have to, because this piece of work is out there now, but like it's kind of difficult to do that knowing that like there are entire scenes that either were scrapped or just never shot because of what's happening in the real world.
Right.
Both in regards to restrictions and to just kind of being sensitive to what's happening to people right now. So who knows how much like Mama Danya would have like fleshed out these characters.
Yeah, exactly.
And like we if we could have seen their humanity, that like escalation to being, like, oh, well, we're going to kill these people would have made more sense, and it would have been a little bit more of an emotional payoff by the time she says I'm sorry.
Yeah.
But because we didn't see that, it's just like,
it just felt very sudden.
She's saying sorry now.
Yeah. So that is one of the issues that I had. with the episode.
I just think overall, some of the secondary, like either villains or just characters didn't get their entire proper due. I think everyone in it was fantastic, and I think they did what they could with it. And I loved Wyatt Russell in this role.
Oh,
I
yeah,
loved him
me
in
too.
this show.
Me too.
That was also a little bit of a weird like thing with him though. In the episode before, he had this big epic battle with Sam and Bucky, and then like I get, you know, joining for like the common good for most other characters, but John Walker did not come across as that.
Exactly. You're nailing exactly what my issue was with
Yeah.
it. Sorry if I'm heated. I'm more upset about this than I am about the whole Flag Smashers thing, because again, like you said, I can kind of understand that perhaps a lot of that natural escalation would have happened in all these scenes that we lost, basically. I think I understand John Walker's whole thing. You cannot show him bludgeoning someone to death in the streets with Cap's shield and then expect me to, a few episodes later, completely forgive him and be like, oh yeah, he's up on the up and up now.
Yeah.
Being all buddy with Bucky and Sam, that makes no sense to me.
Yeah.
That was like, so like, I don't know, it was like out of character, even though we just met this character. It's like, he wouldn't. And I understand, again, they're trying to paint John Walker as neither good or bad. Yeah. In the comic books, he's an anti-hero. I think that's what he's going to be in any future MCU stuff that we see him in. But they took it so literally, where he's either the worst of the worst, or he's doing an amazing, like, heroic thing, like trying to save all those people in that car. Yeah. There's like no in between. Yeah. All the stuff like at the end with Val, where he's like, he genuinely thinks that he's a good guy now and he's on a good path, when we all know that that is not the case. Yeah, that's interesting. I like that. But I don't know, just like that whole him being there, it just didn't make any sense to me.
So I don't know how well you remember Daredevil season 3.
Did you hear my elbow crack?
I didn't know what that was, but
that was my shoulder. Actually,
hey, it happens. But yes. the finale in that, you know, the big battle was Daredevil, Bullseye, and Kingpin
in his house.
Yeah, but none of them were like teaming up together. Like they were all genuinely fighting each other. Yeah. So I kind of would have expected that with like Falcon and Bucky, or I'm sorry, Cap and Bucky taking on John Walker and Carly.
When he showed up, that's what I thought was going to happen. Because he didn't, again, 5 minutes before he did something heroic, he did not give a single shit that like an entire car full of people were trapped next to a fire. Didn't care, because he was there for Carly specifically. And again, I understand she killed his friend, but like you can't.
I think that's a very good, like, storytelling wise. I think that's a really interesting emotional place for John Walker to come back to. And especially with that line, like, you know, oh, you think Lamar's life didn't matter? Like I get that rage, but I feel like, I don't know, like I would have liked to have seen, I'm not someone now anymore who is like, oh yeah, comic book this and comic book that needs to be darker and grittier. But I do think with a character like John Walker as set up in the show, you definitely, it might have benefited him to kind of continue walking down that darker path. Even though, I mean, it doesn't get much darker than brutally killing someone in the street.
Or maybe like a scene showing like his current mental state, because when he showed up hot, full of vinegar, if you will. And I was like, okay, so this is the energy that we're gonna get in this entire scene. And then he was like, no, actually, change of heart. What? Anyway, if you would have given me something before that, where he's like, I don't know, thinking it over, talking to his wife that we got to see like 3 times in the whole thing, maybe better explaining like, I fucked up, but I want to be a good person. I don't know, something, anything than the nothing that we got. Yeah. And for like the weirdest part was like after they arrested that group of Flag Smashers down in like that construction site, and then he quoted Lincoln, which I'm like, okay. And then Bucky was like, Lincoln, really? And he like reaches over and slaps him on the back, and I'm like, you're not friends. Yeah. Where did you two leave off? Yeah. Because even we have more context between the murder and like we had his trial or whatever. We saw him like making his shield.
They broke his arm.
Exactly. Like, that's the last thing that happened. Like, how are you so chill? Like, I don't
Now,
get it.
Granted, and this could just be me using what I like about the show to kind of forgive this moment. Something I like about the show is that they kind of touch on this in like throughout Marvel, like throughout the MCU. It's not always so like black and white. There's a lot of gray in there. And so like I can appreciate that this is one of those gray moments where like, okay, as long as we're working together, like it's fine. But at any moment, either of them can be like, stay the hell out of my way. Like, to quote John Walker. I understand some of those complaints, but like I said, I thoroughly enjoyed seeing Sam as Cap in action. I thought his fight with Batroc was cool. I thought that whole helicopter scene, I thought that was awesome.
I love being able to explore his new suit and the combination like flight suit technology and shield and what all he can do with it. Because there was like multiple things that
when he barricades himself.
Shield, with his wings and the shield, or when he like used his booster on his back to like project himself forward. That was cool. Again, stuff that like, no offense, but Steve Rogers couldn't do that. Steve Rogers was very strong though.
Well, eventually Steve Rogers could wield Mjolnir, so let's not like,
but he couldn't like fart out an explosion to propel himself forward.
Okay, I guess that's one way to put it.
That's pretty much what Sam's jetpack did. Anyway, so it was cool to see, like, I don't know, I think Eric Voss, again, hey Eric, I think he mentioned something about it kind of being like a Captain America, Iron Man.
Yeah, I got those vibes too.
Yeah, and I love just the idea that people in Wakanda made this suit for him.
Yeah.
Like, seemingly they chose all of the details because he didn't even know about it, right?
Yeah.
Bucky delivered it.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I like that a lot.
Yeah.
I don't like his costume.
How dare you, first of all. Second of all, hang on, because I did want to talk about the costume.
And
it's okay. You
can...
No, listen, I've been trying to be much better about not interrupting you. Now it's Johnny P's time to shine.
Well, you interrupted my thought. I was going to talk about how ugly the costume was.
But let's progress there naturally, not just jump into roasting it, because you're being very rude right now.
I won't roast.
You're being very rude right now, and I'd appreciate if you let me. Apple Care told me.
I was told by Apple Care.
No, so before we get into our feelings about the suit, I do want to shout out that Phase 4 is really coming through with these more comic accurate costumes and designs. I'm not one of those people that like always complains about like, they're not comic accurate, because I don't really care. Like, as long as the spirit of it is there and it makes sense for the movie we're in, I'm okay with it being different. That said, for a first appearance of this new Sam Wilson Captain America, like, that's pretty damn close. That's pretty damn true to what the comic showed.
Yeah.
And they did the same thing with WandaVision, where we saw it first as like a joke, but then we saw it like really come into fruition. I don't know. I think they're pretty cool.
Can I talk about it now?
Oh, sure.
I didn't like the WandaVision one either, because it's not practical. Why do you have your fucking guns out? Anyway, I mean, any female comic accurate costume would be too graphic for anything. So I do compliment them for not making it so unnecessarily sexual.
Yeah.
I'll give them that. But it didn't make really any sense.
Okay, that's an opinion.
That is an opinion. I think it's cute though. I'd wear it, but what I wouldn't wear, I don't know. I don't like the bright white on top and like the square shoulders, and I don't like the red goggles. And also, if you're gonna have a hat, like a helmet, have a helmet. His dome is completely open. That's not very safe. I don't know. It's just not very safe or like stealthy. He's bright white, but I mean, I don't want him to have Steve Rogers' old suit. You know what I mean? I want him to have something that is purely his own, which is this. And like you said, it's comic accurate. Yeah. So I understand.
What I kind of like about it is that, like, I agree. I think the shoulders are a little much. Yeah. But two things. One, I kind of like that it still kind of pays homage to both the Steve Rogers, because the Stars and Stripes part of it looks very much like the Steve Rogers uniform, but also that having that prominent white kind of reminds me of the Falcon's original costume design. So I kind of like that it's like an homage to that as well.
Yeah.
The second thing is that, like any comic book movie ever, there's going to be an updated version of it.
Yeah, we talked about that.
Yeah, so I assume they're going to see people's reactions and they're going to see just how it looks in motion and see like, okay, maybe the goggles look a little too goggly and we'll change them to
They look like swimming goggles.
Yeah, a little bit.
That's why I'm not like, oh my gosh, my entire viewing experience is ruined because I didn't like this costume.
Yeah.
Like you said, I mean, how many different costumes did Steve Rogers have?
Exactly.
So
Yeah.
I'm not too worried about it.
There was one moment in The Dark Knight where he was like, oh yeah, I can't really turn my head, so I need like So, I mean, they made it work. It's fine. But it was just like stuff like that. So I assume we'll get a new suit at some point down the line. But yeah, it was just for me seeing Sam. And I know this isn't like what you were just talking about the visual aspect of the suit itself.
The aesthetic.
Seeing Sam in the suit as Captain America, it was just like, for me, it was one of those moments in the MCU that's just like, damn, that's a moment that's going to stick with me for a long time. Kind of seeing Cap wield the hammer for the first time. Like, that was like a holy fucking shit moment. Like, so it was really, really cool and it meant a lot. Before we get into some of the juicier things that leads into where the MCU is going, I do want to talk about Isaiah Bradley for a moment.
I will cry.
Give that man all the Emmys. Because, oh my God, he took up so little of the show, but every time he was on screen, he just dominated. Yeah. Oh my God, he was so good.
Yeah, my one complaint is that we didn't get enough of him.
Yeah.
I hope we see him again.
I do too. I wouldn't be surprised if that was kind of like the end of his story.
But I wouldn't be surprised if it wasn't the beginning of his, who's that, grandson?
Yeah.
How does he have a grandson? Didn't his wife die when he was in prison? Did they have kids? Anyway. Probably something I should have looked up. Maybe grand nephew. His relative. His younger relative.
I'm trying to look up this gentleman's name. I think it's Carl Lumley. Yeah, Carl Lumley.
Yeah, he
was fantastic. And then
makes me cry.
That moment, the first time we watched the finale, the moment where Sam takes them both to the Cap Monument Museum. I don't know what it is. Museum, I assume. And they have that section dedicated to Isaiah Bradley.
And not even just Isaiah Bradley, to everyone, all of those men who were tested.
Yeah.
On.
And it was just,
he just looked, oh no, I don't want to think about it too much. It's gonna make me cry.
I shed several tears because that was a very, very powerful, just a powerful statement and just scene. Like, it was very, very captivating. And there was only that one line spoken while they were in the actual museum, and that was all they needed. Carl Lumley didn't even talk in that scene, but just everything he was doing with his face was just like, oh my God. I remember my brother texted me, and he also, the first thing he goes, that Isaiah scene made me cry.
Yeah, 100%.
I think that's the scene that broke everyone, though.
Yeah. I wasn't expecting it because I assumed he was kind of like, he didn't want to be disturbed, or he didn't want his name brought up because the world thought he was dead. So he didn't want any eyes on him. Yeah. But then, like, seeing, not even like appreciated, just acknowledged. Yeah. For the first time ever was like so impactful for him. And I'm glad they didn't use a photo of like current day Isaiah Bradley.
Yeah, I know. My God.
They used a statue for his anonymity. I assumed, but yeah, that was crazy.
Yeah. Another thing we got that we mentioned, actually Kendra mentioned in the first episode of No Cap, was wanting to see Bucky Barnes in a party full of black folks.
What was it, Jamal?
There's this fucking meme we saw that they referred to James Buchanan Barnes as Jamal Buck Nasty Barnes.
Jamal Nuck If You Buck Barnes.
Yeah, Nuck If You Buck. Oh my God, y'all heard it here first. That's a Kendra original on Perez Periódico.
Oh God,
Nuck If You Bucky Barnes.
Bucky's getting the vision treatment, and people are like photoshopping chains and like hats on him and shit.
They have those like Pan-African like.
Yeah. And you know what? Rightfully so, because I remember, if you guys were here on the very first No Cap, I said that I wanted to see Bucky Barnes uncomfortable in a large group of black people because he deserves to be, because he was born in 1917. And Lord only knows what all he engaged in back in the day when everyone was horribly racist all the time. Instead,
turns out,
I got Bucky Barnes being the most comfortable, confident, bubbly. He was born to be at a black Southern cookout. He was born for that. He was thriving there.
Oh, the minute he stepped in New Orleans, he saw Sarah and was like, "What's up?"
He's like, "This is where I belong. These are my children. This is my boat."
He was
now.
playing with the kids. That was pretty adorable.
Anyway, I'm glad I was wrong, because I much preferred to see Bucky thriving.
Brother Barnes.
Oh, little Bucky. Yeah, I'm very, again, they kind of acknowledged him, like, not understanding how difficult it would be for a black person to be Captain America. We got a little bit of that, but he still has not acknowledged the fact that he's lived through some shit and saw some shit.
Yeah. I think he's dealing with a little too much like personal trauma than to like dwell on the wrongdoings of his
entire generation. Yeah, that's fair. You know what? That's fair. He's got a lot on his plate, including collard greens.
I also love that he was like, "Oh, I was texting, and all I heard was black guy and stars and stripes."
Stars and stripes. Yeah, that's funny.
That's how you really know he's getting comfortable around Sam.
Yeah, he said black.
Yeah.
Lowercase b.
Yeah.
I loved that.
So I really loved, if nothing else, I really loved seeing Sam and Bucky's relationship just kind of flourish in this.
Like, you knew what was coming. You knew they weren't going to be enemies forever. I mean, in episode, what was it, 2 or 3, we got Sharon saying, "Bucky, Cap's best friend." And you know what? He's still Cap's best friend.
Yep, still the truth.
I love it.
Yeah. Speaking of Sharon, let's talk about her.
Sharon.
This was a storyline I'm still not completely clear on. So it's revealed in the episode, or I guess sort of revealed, kind of suggested, that Sharon is indeed the power broker. And I think we collectively went, huh?
I feel like I felt when Agatha All Along came out.
Yeah.
It was like, oh yeah, well, yeah. Like, again, it was so obvious. It was so obvious that they were setting her up to be the power broker with her, like, employees and stolen art and money and a nice place and all this stuff. Like, everyone immediately was like, oh, she's probably the power broker. But then it's like so obvious and so bizarre that we all refused to believe it. Well, not all of us, but I certainly did.
Yeah. So, well, now that I have an idea, now that it just came to me, Sharon is a very skilled. She's got a particular set of skills.
Oh God, I've got a particular set of skills.
Was
that good?
That was pretty good.
I've seen that movie once when it came out.
I mean, I like it.
Is he supposed to be Scottish in that?
No, not supposed to be Scottish in anything.
Oh no.
But how do we know that Sharon didn't kill the power broker and kind of inherit that role? I
mean, I guess we don't know.
Because if that's the case, I think that's a much more interesting storyline. The thing with me is that in the 5 years that, let's say she wasn't dusted, which I think earlier reports said she was, so they would have to like really retcon that. If she wasn't dusted, and in that 5 years, I guess there's a big lack of people, and like, sure, there's like a power void why couldn't someone step up, but it's so weird that Sharon would have broke bad that much in such a relatively short amount of time to become one of the the criminal underworld's like most powerful notorious
people, literally.
Yeah, like royalty.
Yeah,
I just have a really hard time buying into that, and I think that was why it was such like that's not cool. That doesn't really make sense.
Yeah, part of it was that, like, she was listed as one of the missing people who were presumed dusted.
Yeah.
And we haven't had anything say to the contrary that she was there the whole time. So that would turn that time frame even shorter for her to amass that much power and wealth. But, like, I don't know. The thing that really got me was like, this is Peggy Carter's one like relevant or living, I don't know, relative. Peggy Carter was the most good a person could be. How they could never taint the Carter name by making Sharon evil, by making her bad. Like, they wouldn't do that. That's, if there's one thing I know about this whole family.
Yeah.
And what I've been shown of of Sharon this whole time, it's that she's a good person. If Cap likes you, you're a good person. That's
That's his whole thing, yeah.
Yeah, so that's why I was refusing to believe it at first. And I also thought it was a red herring because, again, it was very obvious. Like, who's the most rich, powerful person that they've met in Madripoor? It's Sharon.
And at least Agatha All Along, you had that fucking bop.
We didn't even get a song. It was Sharon Carter all along. wrong? Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. And there's still, I think she is the power broker, and I think we'll explore that more in Armor Wars, but there is still a little bit of a chance that she's just working for the power broker, or she's like the number 2. I mean,
yeah,
we like to theorize here, but she could be genuinely a bad person now.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was going to suggest next as well, is that she herself in the scene never actually confirmed that she was the power broker.
Yeah.
Because Carly wasn't referring to her as the power broker.
Not outright.
It was Batroc who was like, oh, you're the power broker. How'd you like that accent?
I didn't at all.
All right, well, that was fair. I apologize to anyone with a French accent.
Sorry, French people.
Yeah, sorry. Y'all the homies. I think there's a chance, and maybe it's just me kind of projecting my own like disappointment in the reveal, that I'm like, well, maybe she's working for the power broker, because being a high-ranking agent would certainly serve the power broker well. And I could work both ways. I could still work whether she herself is the power broker, which seems likely, or if she's working for someone. And also, I love what you said, that she could very well play a bigger part in Armor Wars, because remember, Rhodey was also in this series. You know, and there's a reason for that. You know, there's a reason that he was connecting with, you know, Sam on a level that really not a whole lot of characters could. Yeah. But it'll be interesting to kind of see more crossover, because it makes the most sense with these types of characters who are a little more grounded. You know, they're not like in outer space and shit. Yeah.
Grounded and U.S. like intelligence.
Yeah. But to that note, there's always the very real possibility after phase 3 ended, we don't know who is and who isn't a Skrull.
Yeah, I genuinely thought at the end, when she was getting her pardon, I thought we were going to see like a little bit of Skrull, but we didn't. But yeah, I genuinely thought for a second. It's just like so out of character that I'm like, are you a Skrull? Yeah. But again, I was actually listing stuff earlier, but I just, my thoughts aren't good sometimes. So it sounded like I was done talking, but I wasn't. She could be bad, right? Genuinely through and through evil. She could be a Skrull, in which case, I don't know where Sharon is, but yeah, she could be not herself. And Eric Voss's reasoning behind that not being true is that she used that cloaking tech, and he was like, why would she need to if she was a Skrull? But I'm like, she's in public. She can't just like be a Skrull in public. That's my idea, at least. But also, that's probably not true. She probably, again, the most likely scenario is she's bad, she's a power broker. Or she could be still deep undercover for the U.S. government. She's not bad. She's just deep undercover pretending to be bad. That's what I'm holding out for, because I genuinely, like, I can't fathom her being a legitimate villain or evil person or just, like, bad. I can't do it.
You think she's deep undercover to the point where those who are literally pardoning her wouldn't know?
Or they would, but at that point doesn't matter. She should be pardoned.
I mean, they went through that whole process. I feel like that's a pretty public process, at least within the government.
If you were deep undercover, wouldn't you want the process to be real? As real as it can be. If they knew, but she needed to be pardoned, they would pardon her anyway. I don't know. Again, just theories. But
I hear you.
I want her to continue to be
good. I that's another thing is I don't want her to be bad. And if she is, that's fine. I get that.
And if she is, I understand. To be a civilian, and like she said, like she didn't have the Avengers to back her up when she got shit for helping them. I can understand over the years becoming bitter about that and not being a good person, especially if you live in like a place like Madripoor, which I haven't been exposed to it, but it seems like a very dangerous place to live. So I don't know. I can kind of see how those two things could combine and become a mean person.
Yeah. Speaking of villains, moving on from Sharon a little bit, let's talk about Val briefly, and what her whole deal is. So it kind of seems like Marvel is using this character who is relatively lesser known. So anyone who's acting like, oh, they've known about her for the longest, that's a very small group of people. And so, like, especially with a character who is a relatively unknown character to even mainstream comic fans, I think they can do really anything they want with this character. It kind of seems like they're setting up their own version of the Suicide Squad, which would kind of be the Thunderbolts in this scenario. Now, the Thunderbolts were led by Baron Zemo in the comics, but a version of it, I should say. But they can kind of change that into however they want. And they officially introduced U.S. Agent, which that talk about a little bit of a cheesy reveal.
Yeah, also cheesy.
It needs a U.S. Agent. Although it's interesting because Wyatt Russell recently said, basically, like, I don't know if and when I'll ever be back.
Bullshit.
And that could be just like a bullshit answer, but it's still something worth noting. So yeah, like, I don't know where her whole deal is.
I don't know either. We were supposed to see, she's in Black Widow, right?
She's rumored to be in Black Widow.
Okay. I'm interested to see what the fuck that means.
Yeah.
Like, in what capacity? Was she one of her teachers? She was a head mistress.
Maybe. I doubt it.
Yeah,
I think if anything,
if the time works out.
She may be trying to recruit like either Taskmaster or Homegirl, who is
her sister.
Her sister, yeah.
Florence. I don't know her name.
Florence Pugh.
Pew.
So if we see her, although I wouldn't be surprised if they either cut her out of the movie or just kind of reduce it to like a post-credit scene. I just don't know, because again, that was a rumor.
But I'd be interested to see what context we get, because Val just kind of came in with no context. I was like, hey, I'm Val, my business card's blank, don't ask me questions. All right, I'm gonna give you a new suit, bye. And that was pretty much it. But yeah, I agree with you. I think what they're doing is setting up like a group of not even villains but like anti-heroes, kind of also like Zemo wasn't, I mean, he was a villain for sure, but in Falcon and Winter Soldier he was presented more as an anti-hero. I do think if they are going to go down that route, because they had because we know Zemo's alive, Zemo's still pulling strings from inside of maximum security prison with his old ass butler. I think that we would have him be the leader of whatever, and it was made a little bit unclear how much him and Val know about each other and work together, because she was like, as a joke, like, haha, I set that up, or did I? But I did. And I feel like she probably did. I think she did. I don't think that old man, no offense, could plant bombs on a car.
Yeah, I don't know. Part of me thinks that is like Marvel's cheeky way of like fucking with theorists, because people are going to do exactly what we're doing.
They do be doing that.
Yeah, they did that all over the place with WandaVision. So like, I could fully see them being like, oh, people are going to go crazy over this, wondering who this character is.
Yeah, but I don't know. And again, it was like they had no sources, but she knew it was Zemo, and you were like, yeah, but everyone would know it was Zemo. But not really.
Well, when I say everyone, I mean like everyone who knows Zemo would know it was Zemo.
Yeah, but it could have been they were a terrorist group, right? It could have been the U.S. government that took them out, you know? To
the general public, yes. But I think specifically Sam, Bucky, fucking John Walker, like anyone who was there would know. And Val seems to, but that's the thing with her, is that she's kind of all over the place. So like, who knows if she is running a new offshoot of like Hydra or something, which maybe not, probably not. I would say it would make sense that she has kind of like people always listening from somewhere.
Ears everywhere, remember?
Yeah.
That's what Fury said.
Yeah. So who knows? But anyway, I think that's interesting. I'm excited.
I want to watch Winter Soldier now.
What happened?
I want to watch Winter Soldier.
You say that after every time we talk about it.
I want to watch it so bad.
So yeah, I'm interested to see where we see her again. I wonder if she will ever pop up into the movies. I mean, they're all connected. They're truly all connected now.
Yeah. I don't think they would waste Julia Louis-Dreyfus.
Yeah.
On one day's worth of shooting.
I definitely think we'll see her again in Secret Invasion, because that is the one like series that she was
in the comics.
Yeah, well, like that she was like a bigger part. So
do you think she's a Skrull?
I doubt it. Maybe.
If she's a Skrull, she's very, I don't know, I would want to blend in a little bit more, I think.
Here's my thing with the Skrulls, though, is at this point, I feel like if Marvel wanted us to know they were Skrulls, they would show us
some way.
When like no one else is in the room, they would show us that they were a Skrull.
Yeah.
Like they did in Spider-Man Far From Home.
Yeah.
And that they did at the end of WandaVision.
Yeah. But also, if they wanted to be a secret invasion, they wouldn't want to be like dropping too many hints.
It'd be secrets to the other characters, just not to us.
Not secrets to us.
But yeah, I'm excited to see. It was announced the day of the finale that there is indeed a fourth Captain America movie in the works. Now it's interesting because technically one could say it's not so much a sequel as it is a soft reboot of the character.
Yeah.
So it would really be the first new Captain America.
Yeah, and I think going forward, the way it's going to be categorized is like Steve Rogers Captain America, Sam Wilson Captain America. Yeah. Because having like 6 Captain America movies is excessive.
Yeah.
So I don't even think about it like that. Like I didn't even realize at first that they said a fourth Captain America movie.
Yeah.
Because to me, it's the first one.
Yeah.
For this Captain America. But
yeah, it'd be kind of cool to like specify as like the Steve Rogers trilogy or the Sam Wilson trilogy to see just where they go from it.
And I think we even mentioned as we were watching it, I think I said something like, "Oh, like I hope he gets like a standalone movie."
Yeah. And then just a couple
hours later. Yeah. So I'm super, super excited. I'm excited to see Anthony Mackie lead a Captain America movie. That's going to be so cool.
Yeah. The bad guy is supposed to be Ted Cruz.
Yeah, I don't know, but I'm interested. I wonder how much of what all was set up here is going to be part of it. I assume like Sarah might be part of it. His nephews might be part of it. I don't know beyond that how many other characters we're going to get. I hope Bucky's
Yeah.
Cap's
I think we'll see Bucky sooner than Sam's Cap. I think I'm going to predict it here, and I could very well be wrong. Okay. I think we're going to see him in Black Panther 2.
That would be, And
because my big takeaway was when Io told him it's best you stay out of Wakanda for now.
Yeah.
I'm like, I think that means we're going to see him in Wakanda sooner rather than later.
He's going to defy direct order.
Yeah.
From a superior officer.
I don't know what will bring him there.
Yeah.
But
maybe it wouldn't even bring him there. Maybe it'll bring him to, where are they set up now? Oakland? Yeah,
true. Yeah. I mean, who knows? Who knows how worldwide this next Black Panther movie will be.
Mr. Worldwide. Mr. 305. Dale.
So who knows where all they'll actually travel, and if the agents happen to be around where Bucky's at, Bucky's he's got that Steve Rogers mentality. He sees something going sideways, he can't stand still.
Yeah. I hope. Yeah, that would make sense, and I like that very much.
Yeah, and again, he might not. I wouldn't be surprised if he was there. Mm-hmm. I fully think he's going to be in Black Panther 2. There's been no sort of announcement. That's just speculation.
Yeah.
I'm going to say it here. I'm not confirming anything. I don't know nobody in Marvel that I know of.
That'd be cool, though. If you're in Marvel and you want to know us, drop us a line. Yeah,
so overall, for the series, I thoroughly enjoyed it. I think if you're someone who is into action, this is a show for you. But they talk about some really real shit.
Yeah.
And I think it pays off. Again, I think due to unfortunate circumstances, it's not the full rich experience. I also think the show could have benefited from having an extra episode or two.
Yeah, I thought about that about WandaVision too, though.
Yeah, so that's like, you could say that for literally any show.
Yeah.
And I'm excited to see what Loki is. Yeah.
I think Loki's going to be the best one.
Yeah.
Out of all these first three.
Well, he's definitely the character we all know the most. And I think if I'm a producer at Marvel, I'm thinking like, if there's a character I absolutely can't like fuck up or the fandom will come for me, it's gonna be Loki.
And I also think that they're already banking on it being very good, because didn't they say something about a season 2?
It was leaked a while ago. They've kind of been super quiet on it now, almost to the point of where it seems like they're backtracking it. It was leaked a while ago that there would be a season 2 of Loki, and now again, like there could also not be.
Yeah. But to me, that says like they're putting a lot of eggs in this basket.
Yeah,
which means they might put forth a little bit more attention to it.
I feel like Loki's the easiest one to do that with, at least based on what we've seen so far and like what we've heard about so far. Because if you just keep placing Loki in like these like scenarios, like you can do that for a long time.
Yeah,
I don't think it's impossible for them to do a Captain America and the Winter Soldier season 2. I think it would be tough to do it, especially after having a movie, like a standalone movie. Yeah. But it's not impossible. They could definitely still come back and tell like a new story.
Yeah,
I think it'd be a little more difficult at that point.
Yeah, it kind of like WandaVision. It's like we did the big thing.
Yeah, WandaVision, I fully don't ever think we're going to see a season 2. I think we might see a season 2 of Captain America and the Winter Soldier. I don't think we're going to see a season 2 of WandaVision.
I don't think we're going to see a season 2 of any of them.
Yeah.
Except maybe Loki.
Yeah.
Because again, that's like a very, very interesting concept for a character that's like not part of the MCU anymore.
Yeah. And I like this format of like kind of either expanding on or introducing characters through their shows, just because like there's all these other stories that kind of require I don't want to say more attention, but just like a bigger scope.
Yeah.
Such as a movie theater. So I don't know. I kind of like the idea that we're going to be able to spend somewhere between 5 and 10 episodes with like Miss Marvel or like Moon Knight. You know, I'm excited to get that like character development through there.
Yeah, I agree. It's been nice having like time to get to know mostly Sam, Wanda, and Vision.
Yeah.
Because for a lot of it, they're periphery.
They're like ancillary characters.
Auxiliary. I don't know what I'm trying to say. They're like tertiary characters.
Yeah.
And we don't get to spend a lot of time with them. But yeah. Wrapping up Falcon and Winter Soldier. I just wanted to say I loved the entire series. I liked it a lot. I will say that finale episode was the best episode. Production wise, writing wise, it was the best. There are a couple moments that I'm still like, I don't know about all that. But overall, to be able to like that whole ending part where we revisit, what was that old man that Bucky murdered his son?
Yori.
We got to revisit Yori. We got to revisit Isaiah Bradley. Like we wrapped that up in a way that was like quick, but didn't feel rushed.
Yeah, it was effective.
Yeah, we had a whole monologue, Sam's whole monologue at the end, which certain parts I was like, what the fuck are you talking about? But mostly was a very strong monologue, like heartfelt monologue. I felt like we got a lot out of this episode, and to have like 2 or 3 minor critiques of it is still a very good finale episode.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. And you know, that's the wonderful thing about all these different forms of storytelling is that it's art, it's subjective. So like, you know, we can feel a certain way about it and still really love it or really not love it. In this case, I think it's safe to say for both of us, we both really, really love this series. The same with WandaVision. And I love them both for different reasons. You know, I think WandaVision had some really beautifully heartbreaking storytelling and just did some really cool visual things. But this was like a completely different, like if WandaVision was chocolate cake, Falcon and the Winter Soldier was like fucking Rocky Road ice cream. Like they're both fantastic.
Yeah. Just different.
Very different.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, please hit the subscribe button. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up. And also, you can follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and Twitch. All right, see you next time.